For decades, the Jeep brand has stood as a towering monument in the automotive world, a symbol of rugged American spirit and go-anywhere capability. When you think of Jeep, you don't just picture a vehicle, you picture a lifestyle. It's the promise of leaving the paved road behind, of conquering muddy trails, scaling rocky inclines and reaching remote vistas that other cars can only dream of. This is the Jeep mystique. It's a powerful marketing narrative that sells more than just transportation. It sells the intoxicating idea of freedom, adventure, and unbridled exploration. The 7-slot grille is more than just a design element. It's an invitation to join an exclusive club of adventurers who aren't afraid to get a little dirty. This promise is deeply embedded in our collective consciousness. We see Jeeps in movies, hear about them in songs, and watch them navigate treacherous terrain in commercials that stir the soul. The brand whispers of weekends spent camping under the stars, of forging new paths, and of possessing a vehicle that is as tough and resilient as its owner. This legendary status wasn't built overnight. It was forged in the crucible of war with the original Willys MB and cemented over generations with iconic models like the CJ, the Wrangler, and the Cherokee. Each one carried the torch forward, reinforcing the idea that if you owned a Jeep, you owned a piece of that unbreakable heritage. For many buyers walking into a dealership today, this is precisely what they are purchasing. They aren't just buying a mid-size SUV, they are buying into that dream. They see the aggressive styling, the high ground clearance, and the trail-rated badge, and they envision themselves embarking on grand adventures. The modern Jeep Cherokee, with its sleek lines and comfortable interior, seems to offer the best of both worlds. The legendary off-road prowess of its ancestors combined with the creature comforts and technology expected in a contemporary vehicle. It's a compelling package, one that promises to be a trusty companion for both the daily commute and the weekend escape. But what happens when that powerful promise shatters? Warning, gearheads, what you are about to read is a Jeep nightmare you cannot afford to ignore. We're diving into the story of a 2018 Jeep Cherokee, a vehicle that promised dependability. This isn't just about one faulty part, it's a cautionary tale. The owner found themselves stranded with transmission issues. The disconnect between Jeep hype and reality is a chasm filled with disappointment. Has this Jeep devolved into a wallet-shredding scam? We're exposing flaws that will shock you and revealing checks to avoid disaster. Missing this could be the costliest mistake you ever make. What dark secrets are lurking under that shiny hood? We are about to pop that hood, and I promise you will be stunned by what we discovered. The allure of a Jeep is a masterfully crafted narrative. It speaks of uncharted territories far from city life. That iconic 7-slot grille is a symbol, a tangible piece of the American dream that suggests a life less ordinary. Dreaming of the person they will become behind the wheel, rugged, independent, and free. They sell you the fantasy that this vehicle is your key to unlocking a more exciting existence, making the dream feel accessible to everyone. But this is where the meticulously constructed fantasy begins to diverge from the harsh, mechanical reality. The dream of freedom can quickly become a prison of relentless mechanical problems. The hype is the bait, but the reality can be a cruel and expensive trap. The Jeep dream rarely ends dramatically. Instead, it starts subtly, with a small issue that shatters the illusion. For our Cherokee owner, it began with a shudder when shifting gears. The shudder returns, becoming more pronounced, sending a jolt of anxiety through the driver. This is the first crack, when the owner's perception is confronted by a mechanical flaw. This minor problem is a warning sign that the Jeep legacy might be just a slogan. The dream is overshadowed by the fear of not making it to the next light. Soon, the touchscreen freezes, the navigation disappears, and the backup camera fails. The owner is forced to visit the dealership, where the dream is replaced by the reality of a waiting room. The emotional crash begins, pride erodes and doubt is planted. The owner realizes their companion might be deeply flawed and the journey looks like a battle. After service center visits, the single crack widens, the initial transmission shudder escalates into violent jerks. The glitchy infotainment system becomes a persistent failure. The owner is trapped in a demoralizing loop. This plunges the owner into a financial and emotional abyss. Even if repairs are covered, the owner bleeds money in other ways. The financial strain is immense, and the emotional toll is even greater. You feel utterly swindled. The vehicle is a monument to a terrible decision. The joy is gone, replaced by dread. The Cherokee became a financial black hole. The promise of freedom becomes a cage. It's a heartbreaking crash. Now we pop the hood, and this is where the dream truly begins to unravel. Many Cherokees are powered by the 2.4-liter Tigershark engine. For thousands of owners, this engine has proven to be a ticking time bomb, notorious for catastrophic failures, often occurring with shockingly low mileage, leaving owners stranded. The core problem lies in a design mismatched for a vehicle of this size and weight. The Tigershark often struggles under the load of a nearly 4,000-pound SUV. This puts immense pressure on internal components not built to withstand such demand. Combine this with questionable design choices and cost-cutting measures, and you create a perfect storm for premature wear and tear. The result is an engine that self-destructs, turning a symbol of adventure into a stationary heap of metal. Even on low-mileage vehicles, the signs of poor quality are everywhere, revealing an engine assembly where cutting costs took precedence over long-term durability. The 2.4-liter Tigershark engine has an alarming propensity for excessive oil consumption. Engines burn through a quart of oil every 1,000 miles, or even less. The problem is often traced back to the design of the piston rings, allowing oil to seep past and burn up. Many drivers are completely unaware of the problem until it's far too late, while the engine is slowly being starved. The ultimate consequence of this oil starvation is total engine seizure. The only solution is a complete engine replacement, a repair that can cost thousands of dollars, leaving the owner financially crippled. Beyond the catastrophic issue of oil consumption, the 2.4-liter Tigershark engine conducts a whole symphony of other failures that contribute to its dreadful reputation. Oil leaks are exceedingly common, stemming from poorly manufactured gaskets and seals that degrade way too early. The valve cover gasket, oil pan gasket, and rear main seal are frequent culprits, leaving unsightly and environmentally harmful puddles on driveways and garage floors. While a minor leak might seem like a small issue, it's a clear indicator of substandard material quality and can easily lead to the same oil starvation issues if left unchecked, accelerating the engine's demise and adding another potential failure point for owners to worry about constantly. Another common complaint that sends a chill down any owner's spine is the development of a distinct engine knock or ticking sound. This noise is often related to the multi-air valve actuating system, a complex electro-hydraulic technology that's supposed to improve efficiency. However, this system has proven to be fragile and highly sensitive to oil quality and level. When problems arise within the multi-air brick, it can lead to misfires, a rough idle, and a persistent ticking that sounds like a mechanical time bomb counting down. Repairing this component is an expensive and labor-intensive job, further draining the owner's wallet for a problem that should never occur in a modern vehicle. The litany of under-the-hood horrors continues with frequent failures of peripheral components. Water pumps are known to fail early, leading to overheating events that can warp cylinder heads and cause catastrophic engine damage. Thermostats get stuck, alternators give out unexpectedly, and sensors fail with alarming regularity, each issue triggering another check engine light and another stressful, costly trip to the mechanic. It creates an ownership experience defined by a constant state of anxiety, where every drive is a gamble, and every strange sound is a potential sign of another impending four-figure repair bill. It completely erodes any sense of trust in the vehicle. Ultimately, the engine bay of this Jeep Cherokee is a museum of flawed engineering and cost-cutting compromises. It represents a profound betrayal of the Jeep legacy of toughness and durability. What should be the heart of the vehicle, a source of reliable power for countless adventures, is instead its Achilles heel. It's a collection of poorly designed, cheaply made components that seem destined to fail. But the engine is only half of the story. The mechanical failures are often compounded by a whole separate category of problems. What is going on with the electronics in these vehicles that is driving owners absolutely insane? Stepping into the cabin of a modern Jeep Cherokee, you're immediately greeted by a dazzling display of technology designed to impress. The large, central Uconnect touchscreen promises seamless navigation. A premium sound system envelops you, and buttons for heated seats and a heated steering wheel hint at a comfortable, convenient driving experience. This cockpit looks futuristic, a high-tech command center for your next great adventure. But for an alarming number of owners, this sophisticated interior quickly transforms from a selling point into a veritable house of horrors. The very technology meant to enhance the journey becomes the primary source of frustration, distraction, and even danger, turning every drive into a stressful ordeal. Imagine the sheer terror of merging onto a busy highway, only to have your entire digital dashboard suddenly go black, leaving you with no speedometer, no tachometer, and no fuel gauge. Or picture yourself trying to navigate a complex, unfamiliar city, when the navigation screen freezes on a single frame, rendering it completely useless. These aren't hypothetical scenarios, they are well-documented, recurring nightmares for countless Jeep owners. The emotional toll of such failures is immense. There is nothing more unnerving than losing critical vehicle information or control over basic functions while in motion. It's a terrifying experience that erodes all sense of safety and confidence in the vehicle. The horror stories from the Jeep community paint a grim picture of systemic electronic failure. Owners report backup cameras that die without warning, creating a dangerous blind spot when reversing. They describe phantom warning chimes that go off for no reason, creating a constant state of anxiety. Some have experienced the climate control system taking on a life of its own, blasting hot air on a sweltering day, or refusing to defrost the windshield in freezing weather. These are not minor glitches. They are fundamental failures of core vehicle systems that make the car unpredictable and at times unsafe to operate, turning the driver's seat into a place of constant dread. This onslaught of electronic gremlins creates a maddening ownership experience. The beautiful high-tech interior becomes a constant reminder of the vehicle's unreliability. Every button pushed is a gamble. Will it work this time? The promise of a seamless connected drive is broken, replaced by a reality of system reboots, frozen screens, and a persistent feeling that the car's complex electronic brain is actively working against you. The futuristic cockpit, once a symbol of modern luxury and convenience, devolves into a haunted house of buggy software and failing hardware, leaving the owner feeling utterly betrayed by the technology they paid a premium for. Why are these advanced electronic systems so fragile? The root of the problem lies within the very physical infrastructure of the vehicle, its complex web of wires, connectors, and modules. Fiat Chrysler made compromises on the quality of the underlying electrical architecture using subpar components. Inspection reveals cost-cutting, thin-gauge wires, connectors susceptible to moisture, and poor grounding. A single corroded pin or chafed wire can wreak havoc, causing a cascade of error messages. It's a house of cards destined to collapse. The chaos results from prioritizing features over reliability, a cynical calculation placing the burden of failure on the consumer. The irony for Jeep owners is that the high-tech features they paid extra for are often the first to fail, quickly turning into expensive headaches. That premium Uconnect system, its screen delaminates, hardware fails, and suddenly you're out thousands for repairs, just to regain basic controls like climate and navigation. Safety tech like blind spot monitoring and forward collision warning. When their cheap sensors fail, you're left with false alerts or worse, no warning at all. Each system is a web of fragile parts. One failure can cripple multiple features, and repairs are rarely covered by warranty. Diagnosing these issues is costly, and replacing a single module or sensor can set you back hundreds, if not thousands. Owners quickly realize the convenience they paid for is a recurring financial burden. The promise of smarter, safer driving is betrayed by unreliable electronics that are destined to fail, and the problems go far beyond what you see on the dashboard. Jeep's trail-rated badge is sold as a guarantee of off-road dominance, but the reality is often a letdown. Look underneath a modern Cherokee and you'll find low ground clearance and exposed, vulnerable components, hardly the stuff of adventure. Flimsy plastic shields replace real skid plates, offering little protection from rocks or debris. One bad bump can mean disaster, stranding you with costly damage miles from help. The rugged image is mostly marketing. Most trims are barely more capable than a family sedan. Buyers expect military-grade toughness, but get a crossover that's out of its depth on real trails. The trail-rated promise? More gimmick than guarantee. For many, the myth shatters the first time the pavement ends. The disappointment continues with the Cherokee's build quality. Inspect the suspension and frame. Even on newer models, you'll spot premature rust and sloppy welds. These are the vehicle's bones, and they're already showing signs of decay. Thin paint chips easily, interior panels rattle, and cost-cutting is obvious everywhere. You're paying for Jeep's reputation, but getting a vehicle that feels hastily assembled. The iconic Grille now masks a product that deteriorates faster than its competitors. The Cherokee's stylish looks hide a legacy of shortcuts and poor craftsmanship. And the worst offender? The transmission. The ZF 9-speed automatic transmission is infamous for its failures. Promised as a leap forward, it's become a nightmare. Jerky shifts, delayed engagement, and random gear changes are common. Owners report dangerous rollbacks, violent lurches, and even the transmission slipping into neutral while driving. Total failures before 50,000 miles aren't rare, leaving families stranded and facing massive repair bills. The root cause? An overcomplicated design paired with rushed, buggy software. Fragile internal parts and a confused control module make for a gearbox destined to fail. For many, this transmission is the single biggest reason to avoid the Cherokee. It's a masterclass in how not to build a modern drivetrain. How did Jeep's legendary reputation fall so far? It started in the boardroom. After Fiat took over Chrysler, cost-cutting became the top priority, at the expense of quality. The Cherokee was built on a Fiat platform meant for smaller cars, forcing endless compromises. Every failed component, from the engine to the electronics, traces back to saving a few dollars per vehicle. The result? A vehicle that looks the part, but is riddled with problems. Long-term reliability was sacrificed for short-term profits. The Jeep name is now used to sell a product that doesn't live up to its heritage. For many owners, it's a betrayal of everything Jeep once stood for. The Cherokee's failures aren't random, they're the result of bad engineering and relentless budget cuts. Every major system, from the electronics to the transmission, was designed to be cheap, not durable. Inferior materials, rushed software, and overcomplicated designs doomed these vehicles from the start. The iconic 7-slot Grille now warns of heartbreak, not adventure. Jeep cashed in on its legacy, but left owners with unreliable, costly vehicles. The trust built over decades was shattered in just a few years. This isn't the Jeep your grandfather loved, it's a cautionary tale of corporate shortcuts. The legacy of toughness was sacrificed for profit, leaving behind a vehicle that too often fails at its most basic job, getting you where you need to go. Captivated by the Jeep mystique? Going in blind is a recipe for financial disaster. Arm yourself with a battle plan. Become an engine detective. Look for oil leaks. Become the most demanding test driver. Put that 9-speed transmission through its paces. Feel for any hesitation, shuddering, or violent jerks. Any clunky or delayed response is a clear signal to walk away. Meticulously test every single electronic feature. Operate the Uconnect screen, connect your phone via Bluetooth, and test the backup camera. If any system glitches even once, you have your answer. Demand the vehicle's complete service history. Search for records of customer complaints about oil consumption or transmission behavior. Don't let a Jeep's charm blind you to these critical red flags. We tore apart this 2018 Jeep Cherokee and the conclusion is heartbreaking. Modern Cherokees promise freedom but deliver nightmares of engine failures and glitchy technology. The rugged image is a myth betrayed by build quality that puts profits ahead of customer satisfaction. Avoid this money pit. The Jeep brand is undeniable, but the company cashes in on its legacy while producing flawed vehicles. Buying one is a gamble. The dream is beautiful, but the reality is breakdowns and financial regret. Don't let the Grille lure you into a trap. There are better vehicles out there. Our next investigation reveals the SUV that beats Jeep. Subscribe for more truths the industry doesn't want you to know.